What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is a very special day, and that's because it is April 1st, 2024, and I know a lot of you out there are saying, yeah, it's April Fool's Day. It's a great day. You're not wrong. It's definitely April Fool's Day. I'm sure a lot of you out there are going to have a terrific time fooling your friends and family and everything. However, here on the Beer Patrol, we do not celebrate April Fool's Day. Why? Well, it just so happens that April 1st is the anniversary of my channel. That's right. Back in 2018, on April 1st, I started this channel. So this year is the 6th anniversary of the Beer Patrol. However, in this review, we're not really celebrating the anniversary of my channel. We are not. And that's because this year, it's falling on a holiday that a lot of people celebrate. Now, later on, you will see a anniversary beer review, probably, I don't know, about 10 hours from now, I'll post it. So be on the lookout. However, in this review, I'm celebrating a different occasion, and that is Dyngus Day. Now, a lot of you probably out there don't know what Dyngus Day is. Maybe you do. Either way, we're going to talk about it a little bit. So first and foremost, Dyngus Day is basically to celebrate the end of Lent. And it happens every single Monday following Easter Sunday. And it is widely associated with Polish and Polish-American people. Now, myself, I happen to be a quarter Polish. My grandma was 100% Polish. So, in addition to eating a lot of Polish food, Dyngus Day wasn't like a huge thing for my family, but, we'd celebrate it. We definitely have some food to eat on a Dyngus Day. And I thought, because this is the first year that I'm celebrating it on my channel, I thought this year and going forward, every single year on Dyngus Day, I would review a beer from Poland or a Polish-inspired beer from the US. So that's what we're doing today. We're celebrating Dyngus Day, so happy Dyngus Day out there to everybody who does celebrate. And I thought it'd be cool to post like a Dyngus Day beer review earlier in the day, and then later on do the anniversary special for my channel. At no point will you see an April Fool's joke on my channel. A lot of my beer tubing friends will definitely do that, and maybe one year I will do it, but it's just definitely not going to be this year. And that's because Dyngus Day falling on April 1st does not happen really at all. So I thought I'd take advantage. So anyway, the beer that I'm going to be reviewing, and I want to just apologize in advance for the pronunciation of all of the Polish language that I attempt in this video. Like the grammar is not going to be good. The pronunciation is not going to be good. It's just going to be terrible. So I just want to apologize in advance. But however, I'm going to give it my best old college try. And we're going to review this beer here in front of me. It comes from Browar Fortuna. They are otherwise known as Komes. And they are out of... Again, this is going to be terrible. It's already terrible. I don't know. Terrible. They are out of Miłosław, Poland, and this is their Imperial Amber Ale. So this is an Imperial Amber Ale that comes in at 10% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, and at the time of review, I wouldn't typically know what this lot number means. However, I've reviewed one beer from Komes on the channel. If you search for it, you won't find it because it was a whodunit beer review, which is a mystery/blind beer review. And it was given to me by my buddy Kenny, and it was Komes' barley wine, and I reviewed it. And the coolest thing was the head brewer of Komes actually posted a comment. His name is Marcin, and he basically... First things first, he gave me a B+ or even an A on that whodunit, which I thought was cool to hear. The head brewer thought I did a pretty good job. But in addition to that, he actually let me know what the lot number meant. So I have figured out the lot number of this beer means that it was bottled on July 24th of 2023, putting this beer just over 8 months old as I review it. So now that we got the 15-minute intro out of the way, let's review this beer. I'm really excited. Now, I'm going to review more Komes stuff, down the line for sure. I'm going to buy their mix pack, which I think has the Baltic Porter, the Raspberry Porter, the Barley Wine, and forgetting one of the other beers in there, but it's like a mixed 4-pack. But I wanted to review this because I've never had this before, and Kenny, the aforementioned Kenny, recommended this one to me. He's like, hey, are you going to review anything from Dyngus Day? And I'm like, you know what? I don't know why I haven't in the past, so I'm going to do it this year. And 10% Imperial Amber Ale. Okay, see what this one's all about. So we're going to pour it into the glass and see what we got going on here. That's looking like an Imperial Amber Ale if I've ever seen one. So 10%. Do something like that. Now, this is just over 8 months old. It traveled across, half the world. So I don't know how this is gonna, end up being in terms of like freshness and, the difference between this, having this a couple weeks old to, eight months old. But we're going to review it based on what's in my glass and the bottle I picked up. So yeah, that has a beautiful amber look to it for sure. Has a pretty good clarity. On camera might maybe not look like it, but like you can see, I can see the shadow of my hand behind it. Hold it up to the light, definitely nice clarity. It has this amber-esque, almost like burnt orange color. Good carbonation, has about a finger, a little bit over a finger of this lightly tan-colored head. Looks like it has a soap sudsy, more of a kind of feeling to the head, kind of swirled up. There is alcohol legs around the sides of the glass, but now that I just like kind of, you know, did a swirl, it looks a little bit more tightly compact and a little bit more creamy, the head. But yeah, it looks really nice. Let's get a nose. So they do mention on the back of the bottle here, this is very simplistic, so I don't think it's going to influence anything. It says, Komes Imperial Amber Ale is a really unique beer. It's strong, dry hopped, and re-fermented in the bottle, which makes its flavor complex. Komes changes its flavor over the 36-month shelf life. So they give this 3 years. So technically you could wait until 2026, July 24th of 2026 to drink this one. So the reason why I wanted to read that is because I'm getting a little bit of hop character still in the nose. Like, it's not like super hop forward, but it has like this nice floral kind of earthy, almost like a copper coin-esque kind of hop character. But yeah, anyway, outside of that, there's a ton of malt complexity in the nose. Like there's caramel and there's toffee and there's dark fruits, like dried stone, like I would say like dried stone fruit. Maybe like a dried apricot. There's a little bit of like a touch of like a black licorice or star anise, like something in that realm, but not too big. A nice pop of a cherry sweetness as well. There's like this toasted brown bread quality. It reminds me of like if you bumped up obviously an amber ale, but also like a brown ale. Like it has a lot of that malt complexity that I get in a really good like American or even English brown ale. More English than American, because I feel like the English brown ales definitely have more malt character. But this is more in the brown ale, I would say, realm, because it has a distinct hop character. There's a little bit of like a spiciness too, maybe from the phenols of the yeast, like maybe a touch of like a clove or something. Maybe a cinnamon. Listen, there is a like kind of like a, I can smell the booze. Let's just say that I can smell booze. This definitely is a boozy beer. It smells sweet though. Like smells like it's going to be pretty sweet. That's the sweet with. I feel like it's going to have a good balance as a whole. Yeah, I really like the smell. I don't know why I had the label. Not that this is hashtag prep class or anything, but yeah, it smells really good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Happy Dyngus Day. I also forgot to mention, I'm here in Buffalo, New York, and we have a huge Dyngus Day parade, and I think Cleveland has one too. I think it's like 2 of the biggest in the U.S., so just thought I'd mention that. Probably why Dyngus Day is so, like, I know about it so much is because, again, Buffalo, yeah, there's a lot of Polish folk here, and we celebrate it. I don't know how prevalent it is throughout like, actually in Poland and in Europe, though. Anyway, go back to this beer. Body and mouthfeel. This is like lower side of full into medium full. It's not syrupy, but it definitely has a viscosity that I wouldn't say I wasn't expecting, but I kind of wasn't to some degree. I was like, oh, this will be nice. But it's a little bit bigger than anticipated, which I think is cool. The mouthfeel, it has a nice crisp, like moderate carbonation, but it's very smooth on the palate. I'll be honest with you. The taste is more in that, like, it's more leaning to like American barley wine. Because it's dry hopped and because it's, you know, under a year old, it still has a distinct hop character on the palate. So it's reminding me of like an American barley wine that's relatively fresh, or like an old ale that's relatively fresh. It has a lot of like malt complexities and malt sweetness, but it's pretty well balanced and might even lean on the finish a little bit more to the hop side of things. I think this is pretty good. So we're at from that toasted brown bread. 100% for me, toasted brown bread. There's honey, there's caramel, there's a little bit of toffee. There's even like a very like deep, dark, like 80-90% cacao bar. Like it has like a bittering chocolate kind of note to the forefront. There's waves of underlying dark fruits. Like again, you could say there's maybe plum, prune, figs, dates, raisins, that realm. A little bit of a touch of like a dried apricot as well. Yeah, definitely like a red apple core. As it continues through, though, I feel like the yeast is giving me this slightly peppery, coriander-esque cinnamon spiciness, like 2/3 of the way through the palate. And then on the back of the palate, it dries out. This has a semi to full-on dry finish with a mild to moderate bitterness, more leaning towards the moderate side of things. So this has a pretty big dryness, a decent bitterness, and it kind of balances out all that malt goodness at the forefront that I really enjoy. But if that just kind of kept on through, you would get like more of an English barley wine. But even English barley wines, usually have a balance of some kind of dryness, usually not that big on the bitterness. But this is definitely reminding me of like kind of like the catch-all style that you see here in the States, which is American Strong Ale. That's kind of what this is. This is like an American Strong Ale. Because I wouldn't necessarily say it's American barley wine or it's an English barley wine or it's an old ale. It just kind of plays like an American Strong Ale. You don't see too many Imperial Amber Ale, so that's where I would stylistically put it. There is a pretty big booziness on the palate, just like it was in the nose. There's a little bit of like an ethanol on the palate, big warming in the chest. If you don't like boozy beers, it might be a little tough for you. I will say that black licorice kind of vibe did not carry over to the taste, which I'm pretty happy about. Because I don't think it works as well in a beer like this for me personally. Like when I'm expecting black licorice or star anise or something in that realm, usually stylistically it makes sense, and I don't know if it necessarily makes sense for what I'm drinking right now. Although I could see it, I don't prefer it to be in the taste, and I'm glad it's not. This is really nice. Is it amazing? It is not. That barley wine was just like kind of blew my mind how good that was. This is not as good as that, but it's still really nice. I think the biggest detriment for me, I think flavor-wise, balance-wise, and what I kind of want out of this beer, I think it does a pretty damn good job overall. Like this would be in like the low 4.25, 4.25 range for me, but I think I got to bump it down a little bit because of the alcohol. I will say this, it's a 10% beer, so for most people, you're probably expecting the booziness, and even me to some degree is expecting it. But there's 10% beers nowadays that hide the alcohol well. I wouldn't say this necessarily hides the alcohol well, and maybe it's not supposed to. Maybe it's supposed to be a big boozy monster, but for me, I don't necessarily like that in a style like this. I want it to hide the alcohol, maybe just a little bit like a warming in the chest. I don't want anything on the palate, so it's a little bit of a deterrent. If there's one negative or one personal preference to this beer, it would be the booze is a bit too strong for me personally. But as you can see, I have no issues drinking this at all. I'm going to finish the rest of that bottle. I'm going to be feeling good. And I'm glad I reviewed this for Dyngus Day. And like I said, going forward, I'm going to definitely review beers on Dyngus Day. I got to probably review, the classic Polish lagers that I cannot pronounce, but everyone knows what they are with the light labels. And, I'll go back to Komes and whatever other Polish breweries we get here in the States. Or, again, locally, there's a lot of Polish-inspired beers that I will definitely review and check out. So, yeah, I'm going to pour the rest of this into my glass because like I said, I'm drinking the rest of this tonight. I'm hopefully going to enjoy doing so. And Komes is 2 for 2 for me in terms of reviewing beers on the channel. This is, bottle conditioned, and you can see with the carbonation, it's really nice. I'd be curious to see this with like 3 years of age on it, like they said up to 3 years. I think that hop character would fall off, and this would turn into more of like a malt-driven barley wine, so in the English realm. Right now, it's kind of in between that American and English realm, maybe throwing an old ale, but again, I'd say more of like an American strong ale. Like something like Arrogant Bastard from Stone, but bigger ABV, and not as like brash with the bitterness. It's that beer is definitely very bitter. This has a firm, like a almost medium bitterness or moderate bitterness. So it's kind of in that realm. But I don't know. This is really good. Komes Imperial Amber Ale. I have no issues giving this a high 4 out of 5. I'm going to go 4.1 out of 5. I think that's where this one lands for me. I think it's really nice. Not my favorite from Komes. That barley one's going to be tough to beat, like period, from a Polish brewery. So this is just really solid stuff. If you see this, and you're in the US, grab it. And I'll tell you why you should grab it. Because it's 10% beer. This is in a 16.9 fluid ounce bottle, and I paid $4.99 for that bottle. Komes has some of the best value when it comes to imported beers in the US. Like, that is insane. $5 for that bottle all day. Even if you're like me where like the booziness is a bit much, like I would repurchase this again just because of that price point. Like the value is definitely true to roof, as I like to say. And availability, I don't know as far as like who are they imported by? Does it say? Imported by D&V International in Jupiter, Florida. So I would assume that, you know, you see this all over the country. It's probably whether or not like your distributor orders their beers and whatnot. I would say that if you do see Komes products and you're curious about this one, you can get it for $5 a bottle or less. Jump on it, try it. I don't think you'd be disappointed. I'm not. So yeah, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Like I said, huge thanks to Marcin who posted that comment on that the barley wine review. Hopefully he sees this and he understands where I'm coming from. I try to be, with my reviews, a lot of you guys watch, I try to be critical. I try to have constructive feedback, but I also tell you from my perspective, personal preference, right? Because I'm not a Cicerone, I'm not anybody. I'm just a random dude on YouTube trying to give you my opinion. But I would hope that, any brewer that ever watches my channel, you're not going to leave, feeling that like, for lack of a better word, I'm an asshole. I don't usually shit on beers. I don't talk bad. I just say, hey, this is how I feel. For this beer specifically, I think the flavors are really nice. I like the bitterness. I just think the alcohol is a little bit too harsh for what I'm looking for out of this beer, but that's going to be, again, a personal preference like most beer, which is subjective. And I think some people might grab this and be like, listen, I don't get that booziness. I love it. And to each their own. But I think this is a really well-made, well-constructed beer. And like I said, I would like to see this in about 2 years or so to see what that hop character does in terms of, does it tone down a bit? Maybe it stays the same. I don't know, but I think it would be a fun beer to try with some age on it. So huge thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Happy Dyngus Day, everybody out there who celebrates. And also check back, like I said, later today for the special channel anniversary review. We're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison of a couple beers that I never had a chance to do before, and I'm looking forward to it more than almost any beer that I've ever reviewed on my channel. Plain and simple. Anyway, the next one. Cheers.